Good morning, I'm Victoria Oyoung, and back in August, all of us seniors signed up for our senior speech dates, and along with that, we learned who we would be introducing. I am not exaggerating when I say that I have been pondering this introduction for Helen Hudson for months now. She is so incredibly kind and hardworking, and I knew that I needed to create a special avenue in which to present her. So, I've decided to put together a series of haikus that will hopefully capture at least half of her greatness. Instrumental class, during middle school we both played oboes. Then 7th grade came, Helen quit band to go sing, I missed her dearly. She is comforting, her presence fills every room with much grace and charm. As a loyal friend, as a sweet and gentle soul, she's remarkable. A funny sister, her love for chicken nuggets truly unrivaled. Her famous giggling I can count on to ensure all will be okay. She may be quiet, but she is never short of something wise to say. Ladies, gentlemen, it's time, so please give it up for Helen Hudson.
I hadn't showered in 14 days. Because I had been on an outward bound trip where showers weren't available. I was finally going home after spending 2 weeks in the outdoors. My path home consisted of a flight from Bend, Oregon to Denver, and then another flight from Denver to Memphis. At this point, I had just landed in Denver, about to catch my flight to Memphis, but when I made it to my connecting gate, my plane was gone. I'd missed my connection. I called my parents because I didn't know what to do, and then I followed everyone else who missed my flight into an extremely long and slow-moving line to wait and get on a different flight. About an hour and a half later, I had a new boarding pass, but it was for a flight that left the next day. I then called my parents again so we could figure out what I would do that night, and I remember getting weird looks as I trekked through the airport teary-eyed. At this point, I had prepared myself to find a nice nook to sit all night in until the next morning, but at the same time, the thought of doing this did not sound fun at all. However, my plot to sleep in the airport was abandoned when my mom called her second cousin Trish, who lives in Castle Rock, a small city that is about 45 minutes away from Denver. My mom arranged for her to come pick me up, so later that night I found myself getting into Trish's Subaru and was cheerfully greeted by her and her son Bill. This was sort of a weird experience for me because I'd only met Trish once before this and I never met Bill, but the 45-minute drive to their house proved a good way for us to get to know each other. My flight the next day wasn't until the late afternoon, so that morning I went on a hike with Trish and Bill, and after the hike we got tacos. Bill got the cow tongue tacos. Then Trish took me back to the airport as I attempted to leave Denver a second time. My flight was supposed to leave at 4 p.m., but it got delayed until 11, so I sat in the airport all afternoon. Then around 10, that flight got canceled. My parents tried to put me on a different flight that left at 11, but it also got canceled. Here I was, crying again in the airport, in the same clothes that I'd been wearing for the past 3 days. I felt defeated. What was I supposed to do that night? Did Trish have to drive 45 minutes again to come get me, even though she had driven an hour and 30 minutes just for me that morning? Yes. She came back and got me, and when I saw her again, we laughed the situation off. The next morning, we went back to the airport, hoping that the third time would be the charm. Thankfully, it was. I finally got back to Memphis that day after an unexpected 3-day layover in Denver. What I learned from this experience is that things don't always work out the way you want them to. However, although I really just wanted to go home and put on some clean clothes, I ended up getting to spend time with family I barely knew I had. On our multiple long car drives to and from the airport, Trish told me about her trips to exotic places like Australia and New Zealand, and I heard about Bill's college memories. I didn't know what I was getting into when I saw that I missed my first flight to Memphis, and I hardly knew Trish when I got into her car the first time that day, but I came out of that experience with a sense of gratitude for getting to spend time with family who I'd probably never spend that much time with ever again in my life. My expectation of getting home the same day I flew into Denver didn't work out, but I've learned that a lot of the time, the unexpected is better than the expected. As we go on to college, I think it's important to remember that we don't know how everything will play out, and that's okay. I know that college will carry all sorts of unexpected, beautiful experiences, much like the one I had this summer in Denver. But unlike me this summer, hopefully we'll all be experiencing things having had a shower recently. Thank you.